And the next step we want to do is make sure that whenever this touches the floor, we want it to be able to stop. And one way to do this is to select the floor. And now we need to add what we call the components to be able to have colliders so that it knows that it collided. So click on component and add the colliders. Physics, add a box collider. All right, so if you go to the scene, you see now there's a green line around the box. And this green line is the collider. Now we need to add one for the box, for the sphere as well. But I'm going to move the sphere a little bit up so that we can see it. Okay, so I'm moving the sphere right there. Okay, as you can see, it was right on the camera, so I'm moving it up. And I'm going to select the sphere and actually the sphere, the floor now, and add, I'm sorry, the sphere and add a rigid body as well. Now I can see that there's already a rigid body here, and that's good because we just did actually. But we need to add also a box collider or a sphere collider. Physics 2D, let's select the sphere collider, which would be circle. Why? Because a sphere in 2D is a circle. All right. And as you can see, we have a circle collider, and it's totally fine. It's right exactly where we want it. But if somehow it's not, you can always take the insets and move it around, okay? Just by doing this like that. But I'm not going to do that. It's good just the way it is. All right. And now what we could do is see what happens with the colliders. Now I'm going to press play and check this out. So it's still going through. So maybe you're wondering, why is it still going through? And we need to work on that as well. Okay, so we have the floor with the box collider, but the floor does not have any physics object. So the floor right now is ignored by the physics. So if you want this to become a physical object, you need to add the component, physics 2D, and we're going to add a physics body. Now, one thing when you add the physics body is that this can move as well. So make sure that you have to also add the rigid body. And it says that it's conflicting because the floor conflicts with the existing box collider. Okay, so I'm going to remove the box collider and now add it. So component, physics 2D, and I'm going to add the rigid body. Oh, I guess I need to completely remove it. So I'm going to right click and delete. So click on the component and remove component. And now game object, component, physics 2D, box collider. I'm sorry, rigid body. Here we go. Now, something that you want to do, because look, if I press play, look what happens. If I press play, both of them are going down, right? We have the floor that's going down and the sphere that's going down. And we definitely don't want that. We want the floor to stay where it is. So select the floor and go to the constraints and add the freeze position on the X, Y, and freeze the rotation on the Z. Now, if you press play, check this out. If you press play, we have the ball that still goes through. So we need to be able to have the collision and tell the ball to stop right there. Okay? All right. So here, what we have is the Unity 2D scene where I have a ball and a floor. And where we stopped is that if I press play, we have the ball that goes through the floor and it doesn't stop there. And one of the reasons why is that the floor need a box collider and not a rigid body. So we added a rigid body, and I showed you that by adding the rigid body, what happens is that if we don't freeze the position, the floor and the ball are going all the way down and they're moving with the gravity. But if you remove the rigid body on the floor, so click on remove component and add the component and locate a box collider and take the box collider to this since we're working in 2D, and that's all we need. Now, if you press play, look what happens. The ball will go down and will stop on the floor, which is great. Now, I think that the ball, maybe if you think that the ball is a bit too fast, you can always click on the sphere, and what you could do is play with the gravity scale. Right now, the gravity scale is at 1, but if I put it to, let's say, 0.2, it's going to be 5 times slower because it's 1 divided by 0.2, it's 5 times. So if I press play, it's going down, but a lot slower. And if I inverse the gravity scale and put a negative sign in front of it, the scale goes against gravity, okay? But that's not what we want. So leave it at 1, that's good for now. It looks very real. All right,